Hey, welcome back. Glad you could stop by. Today we're going to get a little tropical, and we're going to play around with a young coconut. Now, for those of you who've never seen one of these things before, a young coconut is basically a regular coconut, as I understand it, except that it's got a fibrous husk around it, and it's young. It's not as old as the brown and hard ones that you find in the store. These tend to be heavier, and the meat is softer, and no sound when you shake it. You want one that doesn't make any sound. That means that it's full of juice. I don't know about you, but when I used to shop for regular coconuts, I'd go through just about the whole bin trying to find the one that had the most juice in it. With these, just most of them that you shake, they don't make any noise because they are full. And by full, I'm talking about maybe 12 to 16 ounces of juice in there. So the tools that we're going to need to work on this little bad boy here, of course, a cleaver like this is a handy tool to use. Not really necessary though. It's a bit of overkill, but if you have one, it'll do the job nicely. The shell tends to be very thin on these, so it's not that hard to open. We're going to work with just a medium heavy bladed knife here, and I'm sure you've got one of those around the house. I use a corkscrew for getting the juice out of the coconut. This type of corkscrew in particular, the one with the arms, I never use these for wine bottles because I don't like what it does to the cork. There's a tendency to go too deep, and then you puncture the other end of the cork, and then the wine bottle leaks if it's on its side. Oh, what a pain. To get the meat out, we use a spoon because the meat is that soft that you can actually just use a spoon to scoop it out. I'm going to use a bowl, of course, to put the meat into, and just a measuring cup to catch the juice. First thing you're going to do is you can take the plastic wrap. These are all wrapped in plastic. You take the plastic wrap off of it. It's pretty simple. And now what I do is I take the corkscrew and bury it down in one side here until I reach the shell. About there. And give it a couple of whacks with something like this cleaver to get it into the shell so that it bites well, so that I can screw it in. You can see the arms are coming up here. So now the corkscrew is actually in the shell, and when I pull it out, it takes the shell and fiber and whatever out of the coconut instead of pushing it into the coconut. Now you can also use, if you wanted to, you could use a drill, you could use a nail, drive a nail into there, whatever you like. So now I'm going to do the other side as well, because it won't pour well unless you have a hole to let the air in. Just give it a couple of gentle whacks there to get the corkscrew to bite, and then we screw it right in and pull it out, and again you get that little bit of shell and whatever out. So the next thing we do, well, pour the juice. I like to drain the coconut before I take the top off of it because it's not as messy. If you open the top and you've got all the juice in there, it kind of spills a lot more when you try and pour it out. So there we go. We're just under a pint. We're about 14 ounces. Pretty good. And boy, this stuff is wonderful. Oh man, that is so good. It's a little bit yellow, sort of a little bit of a yellowish shade to it. Okay, so to get at the insides of this thing, the first thing we have to do is we have to shave off the husk that's here. So I'm going to do that now. And to do that, we just take the knife, and you want to be careful you don't cut your hand off when you're doing this. Just shave off all of this white stuff on the outside here. Just like that. Of course, you want to use a sharp knife for this. It'll go a lot quicker and easier if you're using a sharp knife. I subscribe to the saying that a dull knife is a dangerous knife. If your knife isn't sharp, it means that you have to force it to do its job instead of doing it easily, and the more you force your knife, the less in control of it you are, and the more likely you are to have some unfortunate accident by cutting into your hand or whatever. So always keep your knives nice and sharp, and maybe I'll get into that knife sharpening in another video. Okay, so there we go. Here's the top of the coconut, and you can see that's the hard shell, and we're ready to open her up. So now to open the coconut, what you want to do is place it firmly on the counter. And you want to take your knife. You can either use the heel of the blade back here, or you can use the broad edge of the blade, depending on how heavy your knife is. Of course, if you have a fairly heavy bladed knife, that's what you want to use, because it gives you that inertia behind the knife blade, and it gets a better bite. Cuts better into the coconut. So let's see if my aim is good here. There we go. As you can see, I've got a nice crack in the side of the coconut here. I'm just going to take that little bit of shell out and push my knife in and pry it up a little bit, just like that. And I'm just working the edge of the blade back toward me. Once you get a little ways around, I'm about halfway around, you should be able to get your fingers under the opening here and just pull back, and the top comes right off of your coconut. And a little bit more juice, so I'm going to pour out the last of that juice. There we go. And there we go, that's what's inside the coconut, as you can see. And we take the spoon, and really, literally, it is that easy. You go in with the spoon, and you scoop out the coconut meat. And this meat on this coconut is a little bit more firm than I usually find them, but it's still reasonably soft and easy to chew. And you can see, it just kind of flops around here like that. That's basically it. That's how you open up a coconut and gut it. The only thing left at that point is to eat it and drink and enjoy. Oh man, that is so nice. So, I guess that's it. I hope you like my method for opening up coconuts, and I hope you try it yourself. These coconuts are quite the bargain. I get them for about $1.30 a piece at the local market. And I think that's a fantastic bargain for these things. They're wonderful. Try it out. Until next time, take it easy.